Hey guys, Wyvern's here, and today I'm actually going to be doing a little debate about Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been looking at the legendary dragons, I've been testing them a lot, and I've went through all the pros and cons, and I'm going to give you my reasons for the best or worst legendary dragons of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Now, if you don't know who these are Timaeus, Hermos, and Critias, basically used from Yugi, Joey, and Kaiba respectively from the Silvery Kelko series, also known as Waking the Legendary Dragons. But this will be put underneath my top 5/top 10 playlist only because that's where I want it. I mean, it's a debate. That's where I want my debates. So yeah, first we're gonna start with Timaeus. Let's start with the pros of the spell card itself. It uses recyclable monsters. Both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl can be recycled. And if you want to use it with Buster Blader is a monster as well, can be recycled as well. Not to mention there's other cards that can replace it and change its name, such as Prisma, Elemental Hero Prisma, and Phantom of Chaos. So that could be a pro for Timaeus. The con, however, of the card is that the monster has to be on the field. You can't use it from the hand. So not only does the monster have to be on the field with the name, that means the moment you play Prisma or Phantom of Chaos to make the Eye of Timaeus work out with them, you gotta have Timaeus in your hand that turn, or you're just wasting a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl / Buster Blader. So there's a con for the card. Now let's go through each one of the fusions Timaeus allows us to have. Well, first things first is Amulet Dragon. His effect states, banish all spells from your graveyard and gain 100 attack boost for each one. Which means, for you to be able to effectively use Amulet Dragon, it has to be either middle or late game. Which is not good when you want to use Eye of Timaeus, because Timaeus is a good card and you don't want the chance to lose or waste it. So Amulet Dragon, you get a boost, but the cost of the boost, the cost for your boost is outrageous for the amount of boost you get. I'm sorry to say, but Amulet Dragon has to get a con on that one. I would love an extra 100 for every spell in my graveyard, but I'd rather not banish them all. And I'd rather it be a build-up, kind of like Dark Paladin is with the dragons. His second effect is when he's destroyed, you can summon a spellcaster from your graveyard. Now, the only good spellcasters that you can actually summon would be Cosmo Queen, which why would you use that in Eye of Timaeus deck, Dark Magician, or Dark Magician Girl. Which, the only reason why you would get Dark Magician Girl is if you grabbed another Eye of Timaeus. Which, still again, that's very low chances, especially because Amulet Dragon only has 2900 attack. So he's not getting a big boost if you're unless you're going late or middle game. So, again, those three monsters, they're not going to make a big change. So I have to give them another con. I'm sorry, Timaeus, just not looking good. Now looking at the next fusion, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, has a costly effect. You must spend a card from your hand and send it to the graveyard to destroy a card on the field. So in other words, I gotta take a card from my hand that I'm probably gonna need to destroy a card on the field, when a card like Raigeki is gonna nuke the entire field anyhow, because it doesn't target, which makes it 100 times better anyhow. It's an okay effect, but very costly for the fact that A, it targets, and B, it's only one card. A lot of cards these days make it where you can't target them, that they have to be destroyed by effects that are not targeted. So that's a con there, because a lot of monsters are protected from effects. Think about it. Obelisk can't be targeted by nature, as well as beetles or a lot of other dangers. It's very bad. Unless you're going for spell or trap cards, and then even then, come on, run MSTs. I don't understand why you don't run MSTs. It's more simple to do that. I mean, you're going to go -1 anyhow. You might as well as -1 without them having to do something that negates your effects and destroy it. Well, that's just my thought. The third one, because that's Dark Magician Girl, the Dark Knight's only effect, is Dark Paladin. Dark Paladin can be summoned with the Eye of Timaeus. With this one, it can be either used with Buster Blader or Dark Magician. There's a pro there because you're not restricted to one card like Amulet Dragon or the Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. However, the Paladin's effect is no better. At the same cost of the Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, which is a card from your hand, get to negate a spell. Which can be okay, but you could be risking a lot of big plays. If anything, I would give that as a pro, only because of the dangerous spells in this game. However, his second effect, which boosts his attack by 500 for every dragon on the field and in the graveyard, is actually pretty shitty in today's meta because it's only going to work in huge dragon-based decks. So, I mean, unless you're going to be playing against dragons, you're not going to want to play Paladin, and he's actually the best one in the extra deck for Timaeus. So, in today's meta, that's not really good. I can name a few decks that abuse dragons, but even then, they're all pendulum-based, so really they're not even touching the graveyard, they're all going to the extra deck. So, I'm going to have to give a call on Timaeus with that one. Which really sucks, but that's how it is. So, that's Timaeus. Starting off with the next dragon is Hiermos. What's the pro of the Hiermos? It's just like Timaeus. It uses recyclable monsters. So there's a pro that's a pro right there. However, just like Timaeus, gets the exact same con in the spell card because the monster has to be on the field, which is very issuant. The next con is that all the fusion monsters need a specific type monster, which means you can't just have them splash in a certain deck. They have to be specific or style-based or gimmick-based, which is very sad because I mean, that's kind of upsetting because now only certain decks can use certain cards, and sometimes you need that bigger boost in another way. So I'm going to give them a con there. I mean, because a good example is, and we'll jump back, is that Red Ice Black Dragon Sword can only use with dragons, but what if you want to equip that to a warrior? And you're not going to be able to fit a dragon in a warrior-based deck unless you're playing Chaos Warriors, which is very hard to do and very unrealistic in today's meta. So, another con. All monsters are forced to be equipped as soon as they're summoned. So if you summon the monster first using the Claw of Hiermos, then you're not going to be able to use its effect, which is very issuance because the fact is, it would be better, and it would actually gotten a pro if it was more of a union monster, where you can choose when to equip to a monster, de-equip and re-equip to another appropriate monster once a new monster hits the field. So, it's getting a con there because it's not having a union style effect. It's a force effect, and you miss your chance if you don't have another monster, and even then, it's stuck on that monster. So you gotta make sure you got a pretty good monster to do it with. Next thing's next. And again, this is my opinion, guys. I'm sorry, I should have put a disclaimer at the very beginning. If it's equipped, it can be destroyed by spell destruction cards. MST, anything that can destroy spell cards, your new fusion monster cannot be destroyed by, because now they're considered equipped spell cards. So that right there is another con, because not only now do they have very punily considerable attack, which can easily be destroyed already through card effects and attacking, now if they equip, they got a new way of destruction. So that's not good right now on Hermos at all. We only got one prep. So let's now look at each of the fusions. Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword only works in Dragon decks or anti-Dragon decks, which again is hard to find these days. Because the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword gives a 500 boost for every dragon in the field or graveyard. Again, a lot of decks, unless you're viewing Chaos Dragons, you're not going to be seeing any Dragon Purity decks unless it's Red Eyes or Blue Eyes. Which even then, just because of the new support, it doesn't mean it's going to always be ran. So in today's meta, I guess because of the new Blue Eye support coming out, I'll put that as a prep. Only because I'm nice. Next one's up is the Goddess Bow. It only works with warriors. So a lot of warrior decks I can think of, maybe I'm not sure about a lot of good warrior class only ones these days. I mean, Gradles, Cosmos, Burning Abyss or Fiends. There's not a lot of good warrior decks or pure warrior decks. And the fact is, it also negates the first effect during the battle phase, but the card isn't destroyed. And I think that's where an issue comes in, is the fact that the card isn't destroyed. It would have been better if you had negated the card and then destroyed the card. And the first card, so you're telling me I could have Stardust Spark Dragon, use his effect to protect my monster, you negate it, and then I flip over MST and nuke your Goddess Bow anyhow. That's not good. I mean, that's a very poor effect. It's nice to negate a card effect, but not destroying it, or only being able to negate the first card effect activated, is very detrimental and very dangerous. So that one has to be a con right there. I'm sorry. Rocket Hermos Cannon can only be used with warriors. Again, not a lot of good warrior ones, but I'm not going to put a pro or con. It gives 2 attacks and piercing damage. But the only problem is it doesn't give an attack boost. So I gotta put this on a very high powered warrior to even get a good boost out of it, or a good use out of it. Which, unless you're playing something like 6 Sams, which in today's format is, you know, it's a little fast and a little consistent, but not as good as today's format, that's going to have to get a con too. Now understand, guys, I'm looking at this as this format, so it may change over time. Maybe I'll decide to do it again next format, you know. But, so right now, we're looking at a lot of issues with, card effects. But, I mean, it's really issuance, and, I mean, yeah, so, Hermos is not looking pretty good. But that's everything on Hermos, I believe. No, there's one more. The Time Magic Hammer. If it battles, roll a die, and banish a target monster for that many turns. It's good, but I'll give it good because it banishes for so many turns. You know what? I'll give it both a pro and a con. A pro because it banishes it, which means no matter what, if I attacked or you attacked, it's getting banished. However, I'm also going to put a con because it's a gamble. It could be for 1 turn, it could be for 5 turns. And that's an issue there, because let's say you decide to attack a tuner And instead of destroying it like Plague Spreader, because you know it can be revived, you're going to banish it instead for so many turns. And that little timing, though, it can either be 1 turn, so next turn I could draw exactly what I need, or it could be 5 turns. So I'm blocked out and you can do what you have to do. It's a very big gamble. That's why I'm giving both the pro and the con. And it's any monster, and it's not restricted to how many times it works in a turn. So if your opponent was paying attention and attacked again, you can banish that one again. So you know what? That one deserves 2 pros. So yeah. Let's go ahead and let's look at the final dragon. Critias. What's the pros on Critias? It doesn't use monsters. And the card does not have to be on the field. It could be in your hand. So if you're afraid of losing the card on the field because they don't target the hand a lot, you can keep it in your hand and wait for Timaeus to come. So either way, you're looking at a good way to have Timaeus. Or I mean Critias. You have a good way to have Critias touch the field. So I'm going to give a pro there. However, the con is that you're using a 9% of the time, you're using a non-recyclable card unless your deck focuses on recycling spells or traps. Because Critias uses not only the Critias spell card, but also a designated trap card. So it's going to have to get a con there. So now let's look at the first one. Maybe one of the most controversial, Doomvirus Dragon. Doomvirus Dragon only has 1800 attack and is pretty frail. And also it only uses your only available use of Crush Card Virus. So it's got to get a con there. However, as a pro, it destroys all monsters on the field and in the hand for the next 3 turns of your opponent with 1500 or more attack. So it gets a pro there. The con is, however, some of the best monsters have under 1400 attack. So it's going to have to get a con there. So right now, let's go to the next one. Mirror Force Dragon. Mirror Force Dragon effect states that if a monster on your side of the field is targeted for effect or attacked, destroy all cards on your opponent's side of the field. So I'm sacrificing a Mirror Force, which destroys only monsters, to get a monster that if you target even with a card effect, let's say Forbidden Lands, I still get the effect off, or even Silent Honor 101, Arc 101, and I nuke not only all of the monsters, but also all their spell and traps. In other words, I'm not only getting a Raigeki / Dark-Hole, I'm getting a Raigeki / Dark-Hole plus a Heavy Storm / Harpy's Feather Duster. That's a big pro there. That's a big pro. I can't complain about that effect. It could still be hurt with cards that don't target, but the fact is, it destroys all cards. In fact, this effect is so good it deserves 2 pros because since it destroys all cards, it doesn't target. It's not like Timaeus that targets with the Dark Magician Girl. This one doesn't target, destroys all cards. So Beals, Silent Honor, anything that has target protection is gone. The only way is if you're unaffected completely altogether. I mean, that's a big pro right there. That deserves 2 pros because of that effect. Lastly is Tyrant Burst Dragon. Tyrant Burst Dragon can equip itself to a monster to give an attack, to let you attack 3 times and give you plus 400 attack. That's a pretty big pro. However, it can be destroyed by spell and trap cards, so that's a con. And the fact is that you need a really powerful monster to get it out on the field and to use it. So That's a con. However, I'm also going to add one more pro, because not only do you get an attack boost, let alone it being small, you also get 3 attacks. Not 3 to attack monsters, but 3 attacks. So if you're able to attack your opponent directly, you're getting 3 full-blown attacks directly with only 1 monster. So that's another big pro there. So looking at my pros and cons, Timaeus counts out to 3 pros and 5 cons, making it at a -2. Hermos is looking at 4 pros and 7 cons, making it a -3. And Timaeus is looking at 5 cons and 7 pros, giving it a +2 positive. Now understand, I looked at the cards, I've been looking at them and using them all, and I've put every single card effect and situation at mind. So by looking at my paper here, which is actually not papers, I'm looking at 8 pages long, bringing in every combo I can think of. The best has to be Critias. Critias is the winner, and the loser is Hermos. I'm sorry, Hermos, you're pretty cool in the anime, but you're too situational. And I think that's the problem, because not a lot of decks, unless you're playing heavy game meta, or cards that are really consistent in the deck, like Blue Eyes or Red Eyes, are you going to play a very type-themed deck. It's not going to be that way. So it's like really hard to get this going without having a chance of failure. Not to mention that all the monsters, Hermos would definitely got more pros if it had a Union style effect, which was it can equip whenever you wanted and not being forced to equip, and you can unequip it from the monster and re-equip it to another monster whenever you wished. That would have been really good. That would really have made it great, because Union monsters are actually pretty good, even though they have that spell or trap card destruction effect. But Hermos doesn't have that, and it becomes an issue there. I mean, I like all the legendary dragons, don't get me wrong, guys. But actually, I would love to see more legendary dragons for all of them. That would be really cool. And keep the bases. Use signature cards that Joey used for Timaeus to make more equip, for Hermos to make them more equip. Give us more trap style Critias cards. Give us more Spellcat or more Yugi style Timaeus cards. I think these guys have the potential, just we don't have enough of it yet. So yeah, that's what I think. Comment, like, and subscribe down below if you enjoy. And let's make a debate out of this. But let's be cool about this, guys. So it's the Wyvern signing out. Later, guys.